Hey guys, welcome back for another video. What we're going to be doing today is we'll be taking an in-depth look at our 2025-26 Florida State Seminoles football team. We're going to completely break down their schedule, go game by game, trying to predict the outcome for every single game. Which games are going to win, which games are going to lose, and which games could potentially be toss-ups as of right now. And what we're doing is we are using FanDuel's Vegas prediction. So who Vegas favors is the favorable team, the underdog, or the toss-up matchups. And we're going to completely break down the roster, break down all of the offseason news. First things first, though, make sure to hit that like button. Make sure to subscribe. If you have any comments about Florida State, their schedule, anything else, drop it below, and I'm going to make sure to respond to every single one of them. Florida State has been in the offseason headlines a lot this offseason so far. There's obviously everything that happened this past season, only a 2-10 season. That's following up after a 13-1 season in 2023. Florida State owned the 2023 season. Great season. Everything was panning out for them to make that Final Four, to make the playoffs, and then disaster happens. Jordan Travis goes down. Their entire starting roster sits out when they get jumped by Bama. They got robbed. It is what it is. They got jumped by Bama. The whole roster sits out the bowl game. They lose the bowl game, but still they had a lot of momentum. Mike Norvell working the portal hard, consistently bringing in top 10 portal classes, top 20 recruiting classes, getting that roster built up, getting the foundation built up, but then complete disaster happened this past season. They went from 13 wins to a 2-win season. Nobody saw that happening. Your most ardent anti-FSU fans still never foresaw them only winning 2 games this past season. It was a really bad season, but all that you can do, build up some momentum, replace what you did last season, make the offseason changes, make some coaching staff changes, make some player changes, set that new foundation going forward. The only place to go from now is up. 2 wins last season, so anything 3 or higher is technically going to be an improvement from last season. But don't worry, Florida State fans, I know you guys have a rabid fan base. You were pissed off with the way the season ended last year. You are going to do much, much better this season. Do I foresee you making the playoffs this season? No, but that's fine. You don't have to make the playoffs. Just continue to take those steps forward. As of right now, Vegas is predicting about a 6 to 7 win season for Florida State. I'm seeing about 7 to 8 wins. They made changes in the offseason. They bring in Castellanos from Boston College. He's not been named the starter yet, but he's probably going to be the starter going forward. He's just a Band-Aid for Florida State to get those 4 or 5-star guys in, build up that quarterback recruiting competition, have a fresh starter coming in next season, but let Castellanos be the bridge to setting that foundation. He's not a great passer. He's about a 55 to 60% completion percentage guy, but it's what he can do with his legs mobility-wise. We know Norvell can work quarterbacks. Yes, it didn't work out with DJU last season, but what he did with Jordan Travis took him from an underdog to basically a Heisman finalist type candidate. Perhaps he can do that with Castellanos. Castellanos can probably get you, maybe 2,500 passing yards in a good, strong season, but he can get you over 1,000 rushing yards. If you doubt it, he's done it before with Boston College's town. He'll have a much improved team. They'll have a better line, better running backs, better wide receivers, a much better defense. Florida State actually didn't have too bad of a defense last season. Yes, they didn't have the defensive line that they were built up to have. The running backs didn't get the push. The line didn't get the push like they wanted them to. But that talent is there. It's ripe for the picking. You just have to fix the quarterback position. That was the massive missing piece. They bring in Gus Malzahn, one of the most accomplished offensive minds in recent college football history. He decided to step down as a head coach. He just wants to call offense. You have no one better. You know he's going to run an up-tempo spread offense. You know he's going to get the running game going. That is his claim to fame, moving the pocket, adapting to the playmakers you have on your roster. He's going to successfully be able to run the ball. Look for Florida State, I'm going to say, to run for about 170 to 200 yards per game. Emphasis on the running game. The run game is going to open up that play action, going to open up the short passing game. You also bring in Tony Wright to run the defense from Nebraska, a physical, downhill, attacking, aggressive style of defense. Florida State wants to live in the backfield right now. That's going to be their claim to fame on the defensive side. And when you're looking at this roster on offense, you're going to have playmakers there. They just need the ball. Get them the ball in space. Gus Malzahn will do that. There's Deuce, Lewayne, Hakeem Jr., Elijah. What about Squirrel White? This is a guy, he's done so much. He was hurt this past season, but he can get you 800 to 1,100 receiving yards. Give him the ball in space, he's going to make magic happen. Look for Gus Malzahn to be feeding him the ball consistently. You have Roydell, Cam, and you have a mobile quarterback. What he's going to do with his legs is going to help that passing game. It's going to take pressure off the defense. The more you run the ball, the more time you suck up, the more time you keep your defense off the field. Give them the breather. Their offense was consistently going 3 and out this past season. Their defense lived on the field. You can't give that to them. They will break at some point. They're going to have a chance to be able to catch their breath as of right now. But let's go ahead and look at this schedule. As you're looking at the schedule, what you see there, when it's red, that is where Vegas predicts them as the underdog. I'm not saying they're going to win it. I'm not saying they're going to lose it. That is the Vegas prediction as of now. Yellow, toss-up. Blue is the teams that they are favored against as of right now. But let's look at the schedule. Let's go game by game. They start things out with a really rough game. Number 12, Alabama Crimson Tide. This game is at home. It is in Tallahassee, but you have two teams in completely different talent spaces right now. Yes, Alabama has not named a starting quarterback, but you have Kalen DeBoer there. You have his offensive coordinator back. They're going to be vertically pushing the ball down the field. He lives for the deep vertical pass. They're going to be aggressive. They have the number 1 roster according to ESPN talent-wise, loaded with 4 and 5 stars. They're going to be aggressive. They should be able to at least out-talent Florida State that very first game. Don't worry, Florida State fans. That's a game we're probably going to be a heavy underdog in. It's fine losing that. What that is that's a talent gauge for your season going forward. If you upset Alabama, great. That's going to project you, give you so much momentum going for the rest of the season. But either way, as long as you are competitive that game, you can use that to gauge how some of these other games might fare well. But as of right now, that is the underdog game. And then the next one, we have East Texas A&M Lions. This is a game for you to kind of get things back on track here. You just had the physical Alabama loss. You saw some things that worked, some things that didn't. Now you've had some time to work on them. But look for them to really lean on that running game here. They're probably going to run for about 250 to 300 yards. They will dominate in the trenches. And they have a week off, and then they go to Kent State Golden Flashes. This game is also at home. They're going to be favored here. They're going to win this one. And then you get into ACC play at the Virginia Cavaliers. Virginia didn't have a bad season this past year, but Florida State, you should have a little momentum. You have an easier first half to the schedule, a little more difficult second half. You have to win these games. I have them still listed as the favorite to win this game. They're probably going to be 3-1 at this point. And then you have the Miami Hurricanes. This game is going to be in Tallahassee. Miami handedly won that game this past season, but they've also had a lot of off-the-season moves. Cam Ward's gone. He's probably going to be the number 1 pick, but they are bringing in Beck at the quarterback position. He's also potentially going to be a first-round pick in the NFL. They're going to be loaded on offense. They're going to be loaded at running back and on the offensive line. New defensive coordinator. This is a rivalry game, so technically anything can happen, but I think Miami, as of right now, Vegas predicts them to be the favorite team. Not saying they're going to win, not saying they're going to lose, but as of right now, they are still favored to win this game. So Florida State is probably going to drop this one as of the way that things currently sit. Then you have the Pitt Panthers. I have this listed as a toss-up. Pitt last year, they brought over the quarterback from Alabama. They were slinging the ball up and down the field. They were throwing for over 300 yards per game. They are going to be aggressive on offense. Where they had their weakness was on defense. It's a Narduzzi team. They're usually physical. They have good games. They have bad games. If Florida State catches them on a bad week, they can win this game. If Pitt catches Florida State on a bad week, they can win this game. That's why I have it listed as a toss-up. If you force me to pick, I'm probably going to go with Florida State winning this game as of right now, but it's one of those games you have to come prepared to play. Do not underestimate Pitt or they will beat you. They are perennially a 7 to 8 win team. You got to take this team serious or they can catch you off guard. And then after that, at Stanford Cardinals, this is the game Florida State wants. This is an easy win. They should be able to dominate this game on both sides of the ball. Like I said, get as many wins as you can first half because second half is going to be more difficult. Then they have that bye week. Then the Wake Forest Demons Deacons, they again are going to be the favored team in this matchup. Rack up those ACC wins. Rack it up versus the teams. You are the favorite team. You have to win them. And then when we are moving on to the next game at Clemson Tigers, this is going to be a tough game. As of right now, Vegas does have Clemson as the favorite to win the ACC, to make the playoffs, representing the ACC. Number 2, they have Miami. Clemson's going to be difficult. They lead the nation in returning production from last season. Lead the nation, not just the conference. You have Cade Klubnik. You have Riley calling plays. You have Allen coming over as the defense coordinator. They're going to be talented. Their front seven is going to be aggressive. They're going to be able to run the ball. They have a really good young wide receiver core. They're going to probably beat Florida State. They are the favorite right now. They definitely deserve to be the favorite throughout their schedule this season. Then you have Virginia Tech Hokies. This is a game I'm going to go with Florida State being the favored team to win this game preseason-wise. But Virginia Tech, sometimes they have a very talented roster. They're an up and down. They did disappoint this past season. There is some talent there, but Florida State should have more talent, and they are familiar with playing them. Then you have at the NC State Wolfpack. This is another team that had a letdown season last year, but they did start out the season ranked. They did start out last season in the top 25, but they let down right out of the gate. Very disappointing season. But the talent's there. They are physical. They usually play good defense. They usually run the ball well. They have some playmakers here. I have this as a toss-up. What version of NC State do we see show up in the 25-26 football season? If they perform up to standard, they can be a difficult win. If they do not perform, Florida State should be able to roll this game. I has it as a toss-up just because we don't know the way that NC State is going to look so far because we're only in the early spring portion right now. Then they finish this season at the Florida State Gators. This is a game they lost last season again. Another rivalry game. It's always difficult to call rivalry games. Anything can happen. We all know that. Florida State, DJ Lagway, he is banged up right now. We don't know the full status of what his injuries are. After 12 games, which team is going to be the healthiest team showing up to play this game? They played a whole season. Florida, just like Florida State, will have a difficult schedule. They're going to be banged up. Who's going to be hurt? Will both teams have their starting quarterbacks? Will all kind of chaos have broken out? Last season was chaos for both teams. DJU played awful. He's not playing. Mertz goes down for Florida State. So Florida. So a lot of crazy things can happen throughout a 12-game regular season. How do these rosters look once we get to that final week? If Florida State is healthy, they can make this game competitive. They can make it a toss-up. But as of right now, I would say Florida has more established veteran players that have been on their starting roster than Florida State does have for this game. That's why they are the Vegas favorite currently right now. But it doesn't mean Florida State can't beat them. I mentioned it several times. Just because Vegas predicts it as a loss now doesn't mean it's going to be a loss once we actually get to November 29. So guys, that's just a quick breakdown and prediction for all of our Florida State games for the 25-26 season. Make sure to hit that like button. Make sure to subscribe. If you have any comments, drop them below, and I will respond to every single one of them. Thank you.